Now, here's your host, Dan Celia.
Welcome back, American Family Radio Network, Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia, 866-392-98. If you want to weigh in, 866-392-98. We've been talking about a lot of things, mostly healthcare, mostly because Aetna decided to drop me. They sent me a letter, a month or so ago and said, my 2014 rates it was longer than that, it was 2 months ago, were going to be this, and they were up about 34%, which I said, I'm going to have to bite the bullet. Then on Saturday, I got a letter saying they've dropped me and they have signed me up in the Affordable Care Act. This is Aetna Insurance. Just in case you don't think Aetna Insurance is loving and falling all over the Obama administration to just be, do anything that the administration wants. Anyway, the major indices pretty much flat. The Dow's up 5. NASDAQ, S&P down slightly, but not a whole lot going on. I haven't even talked about the markets. Too fired up to talk about anything. But this thinking Obamacare. But anyway, crude oil, $99.92, so it's up from where it was when we opened this morning, getting ready to hit 100. Gold's up a little bit compared to where it was this morning, but still negative. Let me go to Henry. Henry's calling us from Pennsylvania. Hey, Henry. Henry's gone. Let me go to, that means we got a line open, 866-300-9298. Let me go to Mary. Mary calling us from Virginia. Hey, Mary.
Hi. I want to call just to share with you a problem that we encountered with our health insurance as a direct result of Obamacare that I have not heard anyone else mention. And that is that we went to our insurance to try to drop one of our adult children from the plan. And we're told that due to Obamacare, we are not allowed to drop our children. And, they have to be on there until they're 26. So it was put out there as you may keep your children on till they're 26, but what we're finding is if they're on there, you must keep them on. And apparently at the point where they get their own insurance, our insurance becomes secondary.
Wow.
Now, the problem we have with that is that, we have adult children who live 500 miles away from us because of the privacy laws and we have no right to find out any information. Mm-hmm. But as policyholder, we're responsible for all their medical costs, ultimately.
So you're stuck with them until you're paying for that too, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And they have opportunities now. These adult children have opportunities to get insurance on their own. They have jobs or whatever.
Well, yes. And in our case, the reason we were attempting to drop was because one of our children has made some lifestyle choices that we can't support.
Uh-huh.
And so we were not only, wanting to release our involvement, our direct involvement, but also to encourage them to, take responsibility
Sure.
and go ahead, get your insurance and, take responsibility for your actions and your decisions.
Wow.
But
Mary, I've never heard of anything. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there. But the way I understood the law, was that if your child was a student or living at home, that you were allowed to keep them on your insurance. But if they weren't living at home, they didn't even qualify for being on your health care. And now you can't get rid of them. I mean, what have you called? I mean, is this from your insurance company telling you this? You can't drop them?
Yes. The United Healthcare, when I called to ask them about how would we proceed to drop them, they said due to Obamacare, you're not allowed to drop them. Then we called went through our human resources. Now my husband is a federal government employee, so
Mm-hmm.
Our only thought is that maybe it only applies to federal government employees, but we were told that the only way he could drop this one child would be for him to go to self-only and then drop the entire family.
Right.
So that there would be no children on the plan and no spouse.
You think the insurance...
I haven't heard anything else about this, but I don't understand why Americans allow, I don't understand it. We're America. Why are we allowing, it's similar to what happened to you. Just moved you over. Yep. It just does not make any sense.
It doesn't. It makes no sense. And I'll tell you something. If I were to give, as back when I had my own trust company, I was managing hundreds of millions of dollars. If I were to share with someone, another organization, another financial company, an insurance company, or anybody else, personal information, which I never would have done in a million years, but personal information of one of my clients with that person, I could have been in big trouble. But yet Aetna can give the Affordable Care Act all my information in order to put me on the rolls of the Affordable Care Act. I mean, it is just, it flies in the face of any kind of a rational, logical, common sense behavior. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'm still in shock over it. It's just amazing to me. But Mary, your story is as equally shocking to me. And I'm at a loss because that's now not how, to me, you're actually being forced. This is the way I understand it. Somebody call and correct me. But the way I understand it, you're being forced to violate the law. The law is these adult children have to, it's either 26 or they still are, they're living at home, or you can't include them in your insurance. You would think that United Healthcare, your insurance company, would be happy to drop them off. It's amazing. Anyway, thank you, Mary. I appreciate you weighing in with that. 866-300-9298. Let me go to Michael in Texas.
Hey, Dan.
How are you, Michael?
First of all, all right. First of all, belated Christmas. Merry Christmas to you
Thank
and
you.
your family, and wishing you a very prosperous and New Year.
Thank you.
So I'm going to make a few quick comments, and I'll get out of your way.
Okay.
First of all, that was sure nice of Aetna to give you a Christmas present. The lady that just called, because they can't sign young people up, they're probably making it so now that the parents are having to pay for all the young people that won't pay. Insurance is you mentioned your car insurance is a state insurance, not a federal insurance. Obamacare is the first federal insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Now the mechanized Japan's economy growing is they export mechanized automation.
Right.
So of course their economy is going to grow because ours is decreasing, and we're going to mechanized automation. I agree that's where it's going to go.
Yes.
And last but not least, England just passed that their health care plans cannot afford to pay for illegal aliens, so they're forcing illegal aliens to pay for their own health care, and that is current news, and so they can't say, well, that never happened before, because that's happening right now. So and here we are giving the illegal aliens free health care, and England has come up to say that, no, you can't do that, your systems can't afford it. But anyway, that's what I've got to say today, and once again, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, Michael. Great stuff, and thank you for that. And yes, and the other thing the UK is doing is they come out and said, we're testing everybody that's collecting disability benefits, and we're gonna go through eligibility again, and if you're not eligible, we're dropping it. And they had like 20% just at the announcement drop off the rolls, and now they're gonna, they expect to cut it by 40%. It's like, well, we knew the corruption was going on, we just didn't want to do it. Now they're doing it, and this goes, what you've just said, Michael, goes back to something I've said for a long time, that the UK, Germany, those two in particular, but some other European nations are going to come out, Ireland, another one, are going to come out of all this stronger. And so you see the UK pulling away. They're saying, hey, look, we're okay with we're okay with immigrants. We want you here. We're not okay with illegal immigrants, but if you are illegal, we're certainly not going to pay for your health care. And we're doing just the opposite. I mean, is it just me, or is anybody starting to get a little snapshot of where we're headed here and what is happening and what what Marxism, socialism, fascism, I don't know which category you want to call it, but are we getting a snapshot picture of where we're headed? And let me just remind all of you, because it bears repeating, though I've repeated it so much. If you wonder why, because I got this criticism on Saturday, I got an email from somebody hammering me about my criticism of the Republican Party. Let me just remind you of something. Who in Washington? I'm not talking about, Ted Cruz. I'm not talking about Michelle Bachmann. I'm not talking about the 40 or 50, maybe 40 now. I always say 50, 60. I'm down to 40, 50. Maybe it's 40 that are standing up. But do you see the party in general? Do you see the Republican Party that is supposed to be the conservative party joining, uniting, getting stronger, and putting up a front against this garbage? When we look at a New York Times article today that basically says Benghazi is nothing more than a scam, in the sense that they didn't say it that way. It's me saying it, but that's basically what they were saying. Well, it really was the video, and everything else is all blown out of proportion. And there's vindicating Hillary Clinton. That's all they were caring about trying to do. Just come out and vindicate Hillary Clinton, the next president of the United States of America. And they're just trying to, make sure. But it was insulting. It was like these guys are supposed to be, which is comical in and of itself, they're supposed to be reporters. Do a little search of the facts. It's lunacy. It's lunacy what they're right. I don't know. It's insane. I don't know who to blame. I've been blaming the Republicans because I believe it's mostly their fault because they're spineless weasels and can't stand up and fight for anything. So I blame them. I'm a conservative like you wouldn't believe conservative. And I am a Ronald Reagan. As a matter of fact, I make Ronald Reagan look liberal. I'm a conservative as they come. But, I'm sorry. You got to put the blame where it belongs. So the very people, the conservatives, the Democrat conservatives, there are a couple, the Republican conservatives, you would expect them to be standing up for what is right for America and what is right for the American people, and they haven't done it. I don't know where else to put the blame on. I'm not blaming the president. I'm not blaming the Fed for the economy. The Fed says, is the Fed becoming politicized? No, that's not the question. The question is Ben Bernanke has allowed the Fed to become politicized. That's the bigger problem. But, I got to blame the people that are supposed to be defending America against this, that have decided, this maybe isn't so bad. Maybe I'll be in office for all of eternity. And that can be a good thing. I got a full board. I'm going to get right to the phones. I don't want to, Wayne, you're on deck. I don't want to take you because I know I'm going to have to cut you short here because we're right up against the break. Let me just tell you that all the numbers, folks, are in, well, no, they're not. The Dow's still up slightly. NASDAQ, S&P, slightly negative. So that's where we are right now. Gold, still negative territory. Oil is coming down as well. We're seeing, or no, it's not. Well, it's still in negative territory compared to where it was Friday, but it's up at exactly $100 a barrel. 866-300-9298. We're going to get back to the phones right after this.